Y'all, we are live using Ecamm. I'm hoping it's coming through. Um, Viewer counts and more. So we're going to try this today, y'all, with Ecamm and see how it goes. Already the feed, I like the look of the feed a little bit better. We're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. So you're going to see me looking because I got my computer up, so I got to look over there to see the chat. Rutledge Professor Radio Show coming your way this morning at 10 a.m. Yeah. From the historic KCOH TV radio station, The Boost, at the corner. So here we go, y'all. Texas. I'm excited because we're going to chat about leadership and showing up and getting aligned and getting clear, taking action and voting and voting and voting and all of that stuff. So join me for some great conversation and a few laughs. And then when we're done, be sure and head over to your favorite podcast platform or to my website, laurelrutledge.com. And it looks like you can hear me. Podcast, the Rutledge Podcast. Episodes drop every Wednesday, and they are short and sweet, commute worthy. And I promise you'll get something out of every one that will help you shift your perspective. Because when you shift your perspective, you shift your circumstances. See you soon. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so I'm using a new platform called Ecamm today. And so far I'm good. So because of my setup, I'm still gonna have to be working on my setup, y'all. See, we just taking you behind the scenes. Still got to be working on my setup. So I have to do this one on my computer. So you'll see me looking down so I can see your chat. So yeah, so know that I'm not ignoring you. In fact, let me see if I can move it around. So if this works real well, y'all, we are going to be ecamming it going forward instead of dealing with some of the other platforms that just were not as reliable. Okay, I'm moving that around so hopefully I can see the chat a little bit easier. Already, I like the picture better. I mean, thank you, Lord. We are going to believe that this is going to be the thing, and I'm so excited about that. So, I'm just hoping it's going to record well because it looks like, my hopefully my OneDrive is going to be working because I want to make sure that this gets recorded because it is recording and we are live on the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show live here in Houston, Texas, at the corner of Alameda and Wichita in 3rd Ward at the KCOH TV Radio, the Boost historic station here, Global Network. I am Laurel Rutledge, your Chief Navigation Officer and host of the show. And I'm just so excited to actually be using something that may work and look really good. So y'all let me know since it's new and everything. If you're tuning in, let me know that you can see it. Let me know all that kind of stuff. So we are live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Hopefully I'll be going live on Instagram soon too, but there's some stuff you got to do for that. So I got to work through that. I may be testing that throughout the week. So you may be seeing some testing lives coming up. Because I'd love to be able to live stream to Instagram as well directly from this for the radio show to be live on Instagram too. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for your patience as, I just test some stuff, trying to constantly do better and be better with you guys. So today we're going to talk about just getting out, and you'll know what I'm talking about here in a minute. We're going to be talking about getting out. In the meantime, Jerry and I were talking about a bunch of stuff earlier today, and there's so much going on, y'all. And you see, I did remember my vote pin today. I forgot it a couple weeks ago, but I did remember my vote pin today. And I need you guys to get out and vote. Some good things, some good news. Rhode Island just voted, their House just voted to give every student free breakfast and free lunch. Whereas a state in the Midwest, in the mountain region, decided that they didn't know enough kids who needed free lunch. So they voted against that, but they voted giving a higher per diem to them. Y'all, this is one of the reasons I think people talk about term limits. You run and don't get me wrong. Kudos to people who run because it is not easy. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of time. You got to be willing to have all your stuff out there, right? Kudos to people who run, but it doesn't need to be a lifetime job. And you don't need to be able to get health care for life. You don't need to be able to get, pension for life, all of these kind of things, because what's happening is the folks, at least in the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress, are forgetting that the people that they represent don't get that. We don't get free healthcare for life. We don't get, this free salary for life. And they've been in there too long. So it is time to start turning it over. It's time to start turning it over to some folks who are a little bit better connected, folks who are a little bit better aligned with what's really going on. It is time to move the power around to some folks who are actually connected to people, everyday people, right? And in order to do that, you got to show up. You got to get registered. You got to vote. There was another state I saw this weekend, New York. New York just said they have same day registration and voting. Woohoo! So we should be finding ways to make it easier to vote, not harder, easier to vote. But since many of us are in red states like me that are working really hard to keep people from voting, like taking polling places off of college campuses and finding ways that their college IDs no longer count for valid ID. So all of these ID laws, y'all, look, it's real. The struggle is real. So young people, stand up. I heard this weekend, my niece graduated from Odessa High School. Yay, Billy! My niece graduated from high school this weekend. So proud of her. And one of the speeches, I think it was the salutator in one of the speeches, he was so good. And he was talking about how he is not going to be silent. He's going to stand up. He's going to vote. He's going to use his voice. He's going to make sure his voice isn't taken. He was so good, y'all. And so it gives me hope. It gives me hope that the folks that are coming out of high school now, right? The folks that are in college now, the folks that are new into the workforce are just saying, this is ridiculous. Why are we letting all these folks who've been so removed for what's going on in the real world make these decisions? People who negate science. I need you to get registered. I need you to vote. I need you to educate yourself, because there's a Kennedy running as a Democrat whose philosophies are not even close to the party he is affiliated with. I need you to get educated. I need you to go see what people are saying, where they're saying it. The power of the internet, good and bad, is that once you say something and do something, it's out there. It is out there, right? So go get educated. Go see what people are saying. Go check their websites. And a lot of them take down their websites when they get ready to run because they don't want you to have a history of the stuff they've said. You dig far enough, you can find it. Because nothing dies, right? You can find the article, you can find the speech, you can find the stuff. So don't just take things at face value. Don't just take things at face value. We need to get back to thinking critically. We need to think back to questioning, get back to questioning and asking deeper questions and paying attention to what people say and what they do. What are they really doing? How are they really voting? The folks that are in there now, there's a record of their votes. What are they voting on? How do they vote? What do they say on the floor, right? Pay attention to those and pay attention to your school boards. Y'all, remember I've talked before, the right has been playing chess and the left has been playing checkers. And I don't mean the fringes. I mean the reasonable folks, right? Up from centrist to right and left, that middle, not the extremes. And we're seeing the consequences of that. Elections have consequences. But here's the thing. The new frontier is school boards. The new frontier is school boards. What does that mean? The education of your children. The education of the folks who are going to be making decisions for all of us when we're in our 80s. Right? Banned books. And I heard somebody say, stop using banned. They are banning books from school libraries, right? Now we do need to be careful that we're not starting to paint every brush. Some of them are restricting certain books from certain age groups. That's a little bit different somewhat, but that's a slippery slope, right? We're not yet seeing people burn books, but I'm sure that's coming, right? Because history repeats itself when those who are doing it are not educated. But school boards are the next frontier. Watch your school board elections. There are some school board elections coming up on the 6th in the U.S., June 6th in the U.S., New Jersey, South Dakota. On the 10th of June, there's some runoff elections happening in Texas and some other places. Y'all, school board elections. I am perfectly fine, and I think most people are, perfectly fine. If there is a book that you do not want your child to read, you want to keep that away from your child, that is absolutely fine. That is well within your rights as a parent. But you don't get to then say every other parent can't have their child read that book. That is not within your rights. You don't get to make that choice for every other parent. And the fact that in Florida, one person can say, we need to ban this book. Amanda Gorman's poem has been restricted. Are you kidding me? Because one parent sent something in and then when called on the carpet said she made a mistake. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She meant that. She just got called on it, right? Stop. Stop. So get out there, get registered, check your registration. Check your registration. Let's see how we can get something on the ballot in all 50 states where it's automatic registration. When you get your driver's license, you get automatically registered to vote. And make sure you're paying attention to Arizona because they're still trying to come through with things saying if you don't vote in an election, you don't get to vote in any of the other elections. Come on now. So please, y'all, pay attention. Pay attention. Regardless of what your vote is. At this point, right, we're too far away from some elections for me to be talking about that, about what your vote is. At this point, I don't care what your vote is. What I care about is that everyone who is eligible to vote gets the right to vote. Everyone gets the right to vote, has access to polls, has access to ballots, has access to mail in, has access to absentee, right? All of these underhanded things. Please, please, please make sure you are paying attention, that you're staying registered, getting registered so that you can exercise your right. Okay. All right. I'll get off my soapbox around that. Coming up, please, Jesus, coming up, finally, by June, so June 9th, I will be in New Orleans. My refreshed website with some things are going to be coming up. I've got a 30-day shifting your perspective process. We're working on making sure all the videos work right now. So shifting your perspectives will come up. And then I've got a 5-day thing for entrepreneurs. 5 biggest mistakes to avoid as you build and retain your dream team. So I've got that coming up. Those things are there. I've got a big freebie that's just some insights for you. If you want to get on my mailing list, then you can get the freebie. If you're already on my mailing list, I'm going to just send you guys out an email so you have a link so you can get that. But if you are not on my mailing list, then you got to get on my mailing list to get the little freebie. And I have a disclaimer there that says, you can always unsubscribe, but you are agreeing to get on my mailing list if you sign up for the freebie. So those things are coming out. And you will also see the new service offerings. So the Founders Intensive, which is an intensive for 7-figure women-owned businesses who are reaching that point where they're trying to move from founder to CEO. That's a big shift. Right? When you can't be accessible to everybody, when you've got some things moving in your business and you're trying to figure out how you might need to realign your organization structure, but you're not quite sure, number one, how to talk about that, how to move people around, where to move people around. Are the roles clear? Are the roles shifting? Right? Are you moving around your strategy? So it's a time that is specifically for you. It is, I call it an intensive because it is intense. You will have some pre-work to do to send to me at least a couple of weeks ahead of time. So it's a pre-planned process. And then we spend the day together. You come here to Houston, come see me in Houston. We spend the day together going first through your strategy, who you are, but then through your business strategy. And then we align your organization with that. Good morning, Miss Hawkins. Oh, I'm so glad you can see it. Thank you so much. She's on Facebook. So I know the live stream is working on Facebook. It is important to think through your business strategy and then align your organization strategy with that. You can't have a good people strategy without a good business strategy. So that's going to come up. And then I also have a group program that right now is geared towards new senior executives, Black women who are new senior executives, either new to the C-suite or new to C-suite adjacent, because the world turns upside down when you do that. Been there, done that. So let's talk about how we get you through that without losing your mind. So that's a group program. Now, the Founders Intensive and some of the work I'm doing with women business owners now, there may be an opportunity to do a group for those entrepreneurs if they feel so inclined. If I get requests for that, then I'll look at doing a group thing for that as well. But that's coming up. Again, the website refresh, which is going to be beautiful. I just need, right now we're trying to make sure it actually functions. Yeah, we're trying to make sure it actually functions, but I know it's going to be beautiful. So that's coming up and I'll announce all of that so you'll have it and you'll be able to get on my website and all that kind of stuff. So the website is still up there. The old website is still up there. So you can still get to me and get to me on all my platforms. But yeah, so that's it. But I will be speaking at the BWLC the 9th, 10th, I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9th, 10th, 11th of June. So in a couple of weeks, really excited about that, to go see my friend Marissa Lee and talk to the women of BWLC. So that's going to be an awesome, awesome opportunity. So, all right. Today, I want to talk about getting out. Getting out. And it's not like, get out or get out of your job or what. And what I mean is getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your habit, getting out of your house, right? Just getting out. And as usual, this came about because of some work that I'm doing, right? Doing some personal work on myself and my business and some things that are going on. And one of the things that one of my coaches is always talking about is building, make sure you have your squad. Make sure you have your squad. She calls it squad. Make sure you have your squad. Now, I have my village, right? My Fierce Five, my friends for life, right? My sister circle. I've got some folks around me that are, look, my friends are better than your friends, right? My friends are amazing. And so supportive. And so they're just, look, they are some incredible women and they rock. I'm just saying. And then the women in my family, I'm so blessed. And I had these people are tight, right? That my inner circle, we've talked about that. My inner circle is pretty tight, but I have tons of acquaintances, I'm that person, right? I have tons of acquaintances and a lot of people who know me that I don't necessarily know. But that's because I tend to be, I am an introvert that presents as extroverted, right? And my energy, I absorb a lot of other people's energy. So it is just not something I like to be around a whole lot of people all at once and do. I just like the networking thing. It's hard. From an energy perspective, right? From an energetic perspective, it is just very, very difficult. And so I was listening to this new coach saying, one of the things you need to do every day is connect with your squad every day. Well, one of the things I know I need to do is make sure every day I'm somehow connecting to somebody in my village every day. I don't do a good job of that. I get caught up and focused in stuff and I do not connect with those people in my village every day. So my mom, I talk to my mom every day, and or my brother every day. But I need to connect with my village every day, somebody in my village every day. The other thing I need to do, and I even had this conversation with my therapist the other day, is, when I look at, there was this big meme that came out and it was something, I'm going to get this all wrong, but it said something like, Libras don't have people. Libras are the people that other people have. And I'm like, that's me, right? That's me. I don't necessarily have, from an entrepreneurial perspective, I don't have that entrepreneur squad and I haven't gone out to seek it. And even when I think about the work that I'm doing now and everybody's like, let's get together, let's practice, let's do, let's do a pod, let's do a practice session, let's do chats, y'all, just thinking about it makes my stomach turn, right? Just having to expend that energy again makes me crazy. And I was very honest when we all had to introduce ourselves, right? I was very honest. I'm like, look, I don't need an accountability partner. That's not my thing. I am happy to do that for somebody else, but I won't be asking for, an accountability partner. That reads as judgment to me. It's just my own thing. That's not my deal. I'm not going to be doing the group thing, right? I'm not going to be just hanging out. I'm just not, right? Now when I go to conferences and things like that, I will do the chit chat thing. And genuinely, I'm not just, you will see me when I show up, I am who I am. But that's not my thing, is to just chit chat, just to be chit chatting. And the new thing now, instead of calling it networking, it's relationship building. That's what everybody's using, right? Relationship building. Well, you're not building a relationship with me if you send me something on LinkedIn and say, hey, let's connect. And the next thing is, how is your business? I know what that means. That means you're trying to sell me something. Or as soon as we connect, you're like, here's my thing, right? Are you interested? Stop. LinkedIn has gotten to be so sleazy. Stop that. I just block you. I'm just telling you. I just block you. Or I don't respond. It's just not, I tried to be nice in the very beginning, right? And just say, I am happy to connect, because I am happy to connect as long as you're not selling me something. And then immediately I get a sales. You're blocked, right? Because that just tells me you're not listening. You're just trying to sell. And that's not how I roll. And, oh, by the way, sidebar, all these companies, right, that are now, I wish I could remember the name of the last one. They're all using the same thing. Some woman will send me something, and it's all about leads, gathering leads, from putting you in front of other entrepreneurial businesses who need you, gathering leads. And then 5 minutes later, I get the same, a message from someone else in that same organization saying, you just heard from my colleague, I'm the senior, blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to reach out personally, right? Stop it. Now, I've sent some really pointed message back to those folks, because when I first got him, a woman would send me the first message, then some guy would send me the next message saying he's the senior person, just wanted to follow up and make sure that everything was okay. Stop. Right? That's insulting. It's irritating. And by the way, if that's how you operate, I certainly don't want you talking to anybody that's a client of mine, because I don't hard sell like that. That's sleazy. You don't know anything about me. You wouldn't know anything about my clients. Stop. Don't do that. Right? Stop doing that. I digress. So as I was talking to my therapist about this, I'm like, you know what? I do need to get an entrepreneurial squad, right? I need to get some people in my village and be someone in someone else's village or squad in this entrepreneurial space, because that road is tough. That road is different. There are things that we're trying to do and move through and work through that if you got someone who's kind of along that same path, right, it makes a difference. And one of my girlfriends, actually a couple of my girlfriends, are doing the same thing. I'm like, why haven't we just kind of done that? The squad thing. I don't know. Because they're more family than kind of entrepreneurial squad. But as I was talking to her, I was like, it's just doing that and being in a group of 20 people and we're all going to chit chat. We're going to support. You got to be discerning. You got to be discerning, because not even when you're doing that, even when you're all in the same group, you're along the same path, you're doing the same thing. Not everybody is really interested in supporting other people. They talk a good game, but it's not really about what they can give. It's more about what they can receive and how they can get everything. And you got to be careful about your IP. You got to be careful. And I'm not trying to get in with people that I got to be careful about talking about what I'm doing because somebody else is going to take the idea. I don't have that kind of energy, right? And it's one of the reasons why all of my stuff, I've got trademarks and IP, all kinds of stuff, right? And especially with this whole AI thing, which we're going to talk about that probably on the next show, because I had a great, I haven't released it. I will send out a note and post that I'll release the conversation I had with Brian Becker last week on Fireside about cybersecurity. It was really good. It was really good. And I'm going to have him on again. And I've got a sorority sister of mine who's also in cybersecurity. So I'm going to have her on as well to really talk about it and social media and what we're doing and how we're using it and how they're using your stuff, just to be really cognizant of all those kind of things. So in looking at all of this, what really came up for me was, and why I wanted to talk about this today, is you've got to find a way to get out. Get out of your house, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your habits, get out. And no, I never saw the movie, so I don't know if this relates to the movie at all. I saw that, like, the trailers. I was like, yeah, that's not me. So I can't talk to that. But it is important to challenge yourself to get out. To get out, whatever get out means for you. Now, for me, last week I did a couple of things. I went to an event, Michelle Miller's book event. She was doing a book signing, and I posted about that. So you see the picture with me and Michelle. Her book is called Belonging. And my dear sorority sister, gave me her ticket. She wasn't going to be able to go, so she gave me her ticket. So I went, and it was packed, right? And I did some networking, not a whole lot, right? Because it was a lot. It had been a long week. This was Thursday night. And I was doing well to show up, right? My energy, all of that kind of stuff. And it was such an energetic room. I really got a lot out of it and a lot out of the conversation. And I could have worked the room a little bit better. Although you are going to meet DJ Mars, who was there at doing the playlist and all that kind of stuff at the event. So you're going to meet her. I'm going to have her in studio because we're seeing more and more Black female DJs. And I think that's really cool. And I love music. So we're going to have a good conversation here in studio about that, how she got aligned with that and took that vision and moved forward with it. So we're going to talk about that. But as I was sitting there and thinking about that, and then I went and met someone else connected me to someone, said, hey, I want to introduce you guys, and met that person for coffee. And I thought, this was a lot of peopling for me this week. It was a lot of peopling for me this week. And yet it actually wasn't that much, because I'll go out and I'll say, oh man, I didn't even know that event was going on. Like, there's a marketing event that I haven't signed up for. It may already be over. It may have been maybe this week. Yeah, I just can't, but my schedule is so crazy I couldn't go. But I saw it by accident, right? Because I'm not spending time finding things. I need to do a better job of that, right? What is going on that I need to be participating in, and then doing it, signing up and going, right? Spending so much time working in your business instead of on your business, working in the thing you're doing instead of working on you, can ultimately be detrimental to you. If you're in an organization, I used to talk about the companies I was in. It seemed like every company I went to was like really, really old, like hundreds of years old. And one of the challenges with that, right? Because there's a plus and minus to everything. The plus is that you had lots of institutional knowledge. It had lots of longevity, right? There was a real culture, a real message, right? A real history to the organization. That's beautiful. The downside to that is when you have that much tenure in an organization and the organization is so insular and so, in some ways, incestuous, corporately incestuous, right? There is a lack of knowledge, understanding, appreciation for anything that happens outside of that organization. If they haven't ever seen it before, it can't be possible. If they don't know it, it can't be true, right? That whole, we need to continue to grow. We recognize in order for us to grow, we got to hire people in who have new ideas and who've seen other things, but then they get there and it's like, oh, that's not how we do it. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, we can't do, right? Stop, right? And so that whole idea of getting out, even if you're in an organization, if you're in the corporate environment and you love that corporate environment, that's where you want to stay, right? Get out. Get out. Develop relationships with people in other organizations, and not just networking for your next job, but to understand what else is going on in the world. How are other organizations tackling things, right? To develop relationships with folks who may be going through the same thing, but in a different way, who may have been able to find their way through some challenges or obstacles that may be a benefit to you. Get out and see that there is a world beyond your company, that there are different ways to do things, right? Deloitte and EY and PwC and KPMG, they all do consulting. They all are partnerships. They all do the same stuff. They all do the same stuff, y'all. Don't let them tell you that they don't. They all do the same stuff. But their cultures are different. Their messages are different, right? There are differences in the way they talk to clients, attack problems, develop solutions, right? There are differences in the way they execute. Go meet other people that are in the same industry as you. How are they thinking through things? How are they doing things? Where are they showing up, right? Find ways to get out of your habit, out of your comfort zone, and do something else, right? See something else, experience something else. That's why I love travel so much, and I encourage people to travel, because there's nothing like going somewhere else where you don't speak the language, you don't understand the culture, right? You've never been before, to really, one, humble you, and we could use a lot of that, humble you, but also to expand your vision and the possibilities, to not only make you appreciate home, but make you appreciate differences, make you appreciate opportunities, make you appreciate different perspectives, right? I love, although which is really weird for me, I'm even uncomfortable thinking about traveling internationally by myself. And I've never been uncomfortable with that. With the stuff that's going on now, I'm a little nervous about that, which is really strange, because I will get on a plane and go anywhere by myself. And it feels a little weird right now. But I love going to places. When I went to Croatia, and met Tanya, it was so much fun. And then I went to Singapore, and I just walked around Singapore by myself. It was amazing. Took a picture on the top of that, boat that was in Crazy Rich Asians movie. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved it. I am determined to get to Helsinki. I was actually looking up some stuff this weekend about Helsinki to get there, and some places I just haven't been. And it's important, right, to have those experiences that make you get out. When I went to graduate school, there was in my first year of graduate school, there was a man, I went to Indiana University, Kelley School of Business, and there was a gentleman on my team. So it was Indiana was like the first out of the gate with this cohorts where you go in. My cohort was in the afternoons, and the professors rotated in and out. So you stayed, you had your group, right, and they rotated in and out of the classroom, and they set us up in groups. So this first semester, we were in a group of 5, and there was a gentleman who was on our team who was worked on the stock exchange in China. He was brilliant. He was brilliant. And he had us over for dinner, and his wife cooked this amazing dinner. And I remember even culturally then, because she didn't sit down to eat with us, and there was all kinds of things that were culturally I knew about but had never experienced. And he was just, God, he was just brilliant. And I remember thinking, you know, I don't know how he did this, right? He was, of course, English was not his first language. He had a great command of English, but he had just been learning, before he came over. And he was killing it, right? I think he ended up like at the top or near the top of the class that semester. And then I finished my degree in Spain, in Barcelona at ESADE. And I went over there. The first half of my semester, I had one class that was taught in Spanish and Catalan, depending on what the professor felt like that day. And I was taking Spanish every day, 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. Because the next semester, 2 more classes, I was going to take 3 classes. The next half of the semester, I was going to take 3 classes. 2 of those were going to be in Spanish and 1 would be in English. The international finance was in English, thank God. Figure it out. And I remember many times walking around Barcelona. I was taking the bus. I was taking the subway. We were just walking around. I was hanging out with friends. I was going out to dinner. I met these great guys from the Netherlands and from Germany, and a real jerk from Germany too, that after the first meeting, when we all kind of got together, I never saw him again because he was a jerk to everybody. Met some amazing women from Brazil, and I mean, just international. And I remember thinking, when I went to grad school, I said, one of my goals of grad school is to leave being functionally fluent in Spanish. That's one of my goals. And I wanted to get out of state. I wanted to get out of the state of Texas to go to grad school. And so I did that, went to Indiana, and then finished my degree in Barcelona. And I learned such an appreciation of getting out of Odessa. So all of y'all in Odessa, get out of Odessa. Go see something. Even if you want to go back, that's cool. Go back. Go back, live in Odessa. It's a good place to live. It was a great place to grow up. But you need to go see something else and then go back so you can appreciate it even more, right? And I'm so glad I got out, because looking back on this teammate from China, when you are the one who doesn't speak the language, the one who doesn't understand the culture, the one who has to figure it out, the one who has to figure out how to get along and make things happen with little information, with how do you trust when folks may not always be telling you in the language, right? You don't necessarily understand the culture. You don't necessarily understand where to go or how to go, all of these kind of things, right? It is such a humbling experience to be so reliant on other folks. And yet, not only getting out of Odessa, getting out of Texas, and getting out of the US for an extended period of time where I had to function. I had to go to the grocery store, right? I had to do laundry. I had to make phone calls. I had to, pay rent. I had to do all of these kind of things and go to class and study. I had to live outside of my comfort zone. Was so freeing. It was humbling, but it was also encouraging. It gave me so much confidence, because it told me that no matter where I go, I can figure it out. Because see, I know how to read a map, right? I know how to figure out what to do. I have a really great gut instinct that enables me to stay safe, right? I can pay attention. I can